Hey folks, Robbie Payne with Chrome Unboxed here today with a full review of the Acer C720P-2600. Layman's terms, that is the Acer C720, which everyone mostly likes, some people love, with the addition of a touch panel and a white exterior. Otherwise, we're talking about the same machine as the Acer C720. Basically, we're looking at the Haswell class Celeron processor, but the same Haswell class processor that's in the HP 14, the other Acer C720s, and the upcoming Toshiba Chromebook. The differences we see internally on this one, the only difference specifically that we see internally on this device is 2 gigs versus the 4 gigs of RAM. If you haven't already, you can, below the video, you can subscribe. You can see all the other Chrome centric reviews that I've done. I have reviewed the Acer C720 before, and so you'll see a lot of that stuff kind of rehashed in this review as well. So we're dealing with pretty much the same machine here, again with 2 gigs less of RAM, and we'll get around to that here in a few minutes. But 16 gig solid state drive internally, same 1376 by 768 or 1366 by 768 resolution on the display, and so a lot of the things are the same here. Let's take a quick hardware view real quick. The top, again, same thing. We're just not having the dark gray, just white here. The texture is much smoother and actually has a more premium feel to it this time around. So I do like that. I give them a thumbs up on that change. We'll take a quick view around the ports. Full-size SD card, USB 2.0 over here, Kensington lock, fan ports. Over here we have a USB 3.0, the combo headphone microphone jack, full-size HDMI out, and your charging connector, and then down below fans and then speakers. This device, actually, there's a video I've shared on Google+. This device can actually be opened up, and the solid state storage can be traded out on it. So that's a unique feature. From what I understand, the HP 14, you can do that as well. And there are videos online from other people who have done such things. I don't want to crack open a review unit, but that is a possible thing. On the inside, you will notice a little bit of difference here. On the other C720, you actually have a glossy plastic bezel all the way around the edge. This one carries over the kind of matte finish from the front to this edge, and then this part here begins kind of the touchscreen covering, which is plastic, it's not glass, but it overall has a higher quality feel to it, especially the screen, the bezels. The screen itself does look better, in my opinion, over the Acer C720. Simply because the Acer C720 has a matte display, and so there's kind of an anti-glare finish over this. Obviously, that I think is problematic with adding a touchscreen element. So we have a glossy display, which a lot of people don't like. You can actually see the tripod in the reflection here. And so that becomes an issue because the screen is not that bright. And so if the nits were higher on the display, you could crank up the brightness and glare really just doesn't become an issue. But because the screen isn't putting out that much light, we run into some reflective display issues. Aside from that, the display is a little bit more crisp because of the lack of that matte finish. The anti-glare kind of adds a little bit of grain to the display. So I did enjoy this display a little bit more than the Acer C720. However, I must say that the overall display quality is still really washed out. It's somewhat on par with the HP 14. I still think the HP 14 wins when it comes to straight up display, just by looks, right next to each other. I do like the way it looks a little bit better. While we're on the subject of the screen, the touchscreen works just as you would expect it to. If I touch Chrome here, we launch into Chrome, click Google Plus here, and I'll show you some scrolling on what we all know is one of the more difficult pages for Chromebooks to scroll, and you can see it works just fine. So that Haswell processor is doing its job here. No issues there. Pinch to zoom does not work. I've attempted to go into the flags and turn on advanced gestures, but I've not seen the ability for pinch to zoom to work. Let me load up something that might. Let this get loaded here. Yeah, no pinch to zoom there. Now I may be missing something. There may be some other things I could do to enable that to work properly. I've got to be honest with you. Having a device, I figured maybe having a smaller device that I could keep in my lap around the living room, not really during work hours, but during those leisure hours, having this guy on my lap that I might be prone to use, the touch panel, has not been the case for me. Chrome has really done a good job of optimizing your touchpad. So between 2-finger scrolling, 3-finger swiping between tabs, such as this, and just your general usage of the touchpad, I just don't feel like there's a whole lot of need to reach up and touch the screen. It actually feels like it would be more work to do so. So for me, it just hasn't really been, the touchscreen hasn't really been that useful. So take that with a grain of salt. Different people are going to be different ways, and some people will really deal with tablets a lot, so they just have that inclination to touch the screen. If that's the case, having a touchscreen Chromebook may be a great fit for you. And I will show you one other thing regarding the touchscreen. You got the menu or the dock down here that you can swipe up and down, which is kind of neat. If we open up, let's do cut the rope. Good touchscreen game that originally started on touch devices, and so yes, you can play with the mouse, but just as easily, quick flick of the finger works really great. So as the gaming develops on Chrome OS, possibly touchscreen Chromebooks could be something that could be really awesome. Right now, again, like I said, for me, I just didn't end up using it that much. Keyboard and trackpad, again, you can see those things in the other review. Were the same thing. The material on the trackpad's a little different. It's a little smoother. It does have the tendency to really collect the oils and stuff off your fingers, so you had to wipe it off quite a bit. But overall, it's a very nice, smooth performance. The mouse doesn't jump around all over the place, and really just enjoyed using the touchpad. I will say the 3-finger swipe between tabs, I don't know if this is a processor-based thing or if it's a sensitivity on the touchpad, but you can see right now it's not doing it. Okay, pick it up, come on. There we go. Whereas on my HP 14, I mean, that's just fluid every single time. I put 3 fingers on and swipe, you have 10 tabs open, and swiping between those just works. This one sometimes would lag, sometimes it wouldn't even pick up the 3rd finger, so I'm guessing it's probably a hardware sensitivity issue. I don't think it's a hardware thing, or a software thing, or even an internal software thing, because like the 2-finger back gesture pretty much works every single time. So I'm thinking that picking up that 3rd finger is not quite happening. Overall, the device does not pick up fingerprints very badly. You see me just wiping off a couple there, but ultimately the whole thing's matte display. I haven't really had to wipe much off at all. Did have to wipe the screen off. I was forcing myself to use the touch display just to see how Chrome handles it. And overall, I mean, it does the things you expect it to do. There's not a great experience with touchscreen yet on Chrome OS. It's not really tailored to that. And so closing things out, selecting things, clicking on links, I mean, it does all those things just fine, but there's just not a whole lot of things that really necessitate touch at this point anyway with Chrome OS. As far as the keyboard goes, literally it's the exact same keyboard that's on the C720. I believe it's the exact same keys as well, and I had no problem with it. I mean, the keys are a little plasticky feeling, travel's pretty shallow, but I had no problem punching out plenty of emails, documents, all that kind of stuff. There was no issue really in that regard. Performance-wise, I do have to say this is the first Haswell-based Chromebook I have used that has 2 gigs of RAM versus 4. So the HPs that I've used have all had 4. The Acer C720 I reviewed before had 4 gigs of RAM. This is the first one with only 2 gigs of RAM, and I was really curious to see how the device would fare once I got quite a few tabs open, because really with Chrome OS, that's the only thing that RAM does. RAM helps you handle multiple tasks at one time. And so I can show you this pretty quickly. If I open up some heavier pages, let's get a YouTube. Let's open up Twitter and The Verge and Engadget. Central. And last but certainly not least, Chrome Unboxed. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs, relatively heavy in their content. So we've got a Google Plus. I went and opened 2 of those guys. And I'm actually going to get a YouTube video going. And we'll just do the unboxing of this particular device. And we'll keep the volume up just a little bit so we know that it's running. And you can already see it starting to struggle. Like once it gets the page loaded, it's fine. So no issues. So you can see some lag here in the scrolling. And again, I'm pushing this thing, so take that with a grain of salt. So it's not doing too bad, but you notice every page I load. Let's go back and see some of these. Now I'm not getting any white screen yet, which is good. Earlier I was getting some white screen when switching between pages. So we're starting to see some of that page reloading happening. Let's push it a little bit more. Studio Press, why not? And Facebook. And last but not least, we'll do Google Drive. So this gives us a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just make it 12. So now we start to see this happening. So you can see the frame rates have completely bottomed out on the YouTube video. And now that we're in it for a second, it looks like frame rates are okay again. But things are not responding that well. We're starting to see some serious lag happen. Civil Wars, how about that? And the big thing I ran into is after having a few tabs open and having some streaming music in the background, the streaming music was kicking in and out and in and out and in and out over and over and over. And so, so I'm kind of trying to replicate here. So yeah, like 3 fingers trying to swipe between tabs right now, struggling with that. And so it's not unusable by any means, but you can definitely see really quickly where the RAM starts to become an issue. And so we're back and forth a little bit between this video and the music going. And again, so yeah, it's kicking the video off now. I mean, we're pushing it pretty well, but I would venture to say after about 10 tabs, you're going to start seeing some issues. Where that can run into problems is if you're running web applications that are saving things in the background. If for whatever reason you jump to another tab and jump back before it's had a chance to save, you can run into a few issues there. Again, day-to-day usage, probably not going to be that big of a deal. And I'm going to have a video, actually another video that is going to be coming up soon. I'm actually going to compare this, the HP 14, and the Samsung ARM Chromebook, all side by side as far as their ability to cast tabs up to the Chromecast. And so I had a couple of requests for that. So we'll do that as well. And you'll kind of see, again, a slight performance gap with the 2 gigs of RAM. So in answer to the question that I've seen going around Google Plus and different places a lot, the 2 gigs of RAM does make a difference, and it starts to beget the question, why it is that we're seeing so many Chromebooks, the Toshiba Chromebook that's coming, the LG Chromebase that's coming, still be shipped with 2 gigs of RAM, when we know that 2 gigs of RAM to add to that really wouldn't be that much to the bottom line. I mean, we're talking about a handful of dollars here. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. I don't know if there's a purpose behind that, but it definitely does show a little bit of performance gap when being compared to a device that has a full 4 gigs of RAM. So something to bear in mind with this device. So if you're looking at it and you are a power user and you got a lot of tabs open a lot and you're doing some heavier work, for me, I probably have, I've got Linux actually booted up as well right now. So I've kind of got that running in the background as well. So if you're going to be doing a lot of those things, you are going to see a bit of performance lag with the 2 gigs. Other than that, performance has been solid. The Haswell processor really pushes through lots of stuff. And so that's not really a bother for light daily usage. As I said before, the display is a bit washed out. It does not have the crispest display ever, and a lot of these Chromebooks have that same problem. We get these kind of mid-level specs when it comes to the screen. And so there's an upcoming Samsung Chromebook that's supposed to be coming out, and they're really, it looks like they're going to focus on the screen, kind of just like the HP 11 did. And hopefully that's going to mean we're going to start seeing some quality displays. Nobody's shouting for Retina display on a MacBook in a Chromebook, but it would just be nice to see something with really accurate colors that's not washed out, that has great viewing angles, because this one suffers the same way that the other one did. As soon as we bend this forward, you'll see the polarization. Everything turns inside out, and same thing going backwards. So when we get back far enough, it's not nearly as bad that way. When you tilt it forward, you really polarize pretty badly. But other than that, the device has been good, not great. For me personally, I'm sticking with my HP 14 still. I enjoy its performance mainly, and its ability to help me get work done. And this thing is really close. It really is. Something like this in a little bit larger form factor, maybe like that 13-inch form factor with 4 gigs of RAM instead, and that touchscreen could be a really nice combo. And again, this could be a really great around the living room kind of couch partner kind of thing, a replacement for a tablet, something like that. That's a possibility, I think. But overall, the Acer C720 is a good Chromebook. It's not great. One other thing I wanted to show, just so you can see it, that a lot of people have asked for, is the camera. And this one is definitely subpar. I'm not even sure if it's 720p, to be honest with you. Hey guys. And you'll see quite a bit of artifacting. It's relatively well lit in this room, but yeah, quite a bit of artifacting. Motion capture is pretty decent. And so just wanted to show you that really quickly. The HP is definitely a better camera for sure on the front facing. It'll get you through video chats. It's going to do just fine for those kind of things. And like I said, for a lot of things, this Chromebook will do just fine. It's going to power through all your sites. You know, we've used Google Plus as a litmus test a lot for these things, and you can see 2-finger scrolling is perfectly smooth. Scrolling on the screen is perfectly smooth. So in no way in the end of this am I trying to say, hey, this is a poor Chromebook or it's a poor performer. I want to make sure to highlight the fact that there is a noticeable difference and a gap in performance between the 2 and the 4 gigs of RAM. And I know for me personally, that has caused me to rethink the possibilities, because I was really excited about the Toshiba Chromebook. I like the look of it. As silly as it is, I like the fact that you can lift the display with 1 finger. I think that's just a sign of good craftsmanship. So I was excited to see somebody do that and one of the little hands-on. And I was just excited about the form factor. Everything about it really was kind of exciting. But it's shipping with 2 gigs of RAM. And after using this guy for the better part of the week, I don't think that's going to be something that I'm ready to sacrifice on. If it had a majestic display and bigger drive and even a faster processor or something than the HP, I still would be reluctant to jump ship to a 2 gig setup at this point. So here's to hoping we start seeing 4 gigs be the norm with Chromebooks. Again, I don't know what exactly is going on. It can't be just about money. It seems like there's some sort of push by someone to get those 2 gigs those 2 gig models out there. And so I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that, but hopefully we start seeing at least the option, charge me an extra 40, $50 and give me an option to go to 4 gig, and I would be happy. And as I know a lot of you would be as well. And so if you have any other questions, just as you always have, feel free to leave those in the comment sections below. Again, watch the C720 review. I talked about a few other things in that review than I did in this one. Hopefully between the two, they would cover pretty much everything you need to. I'll pop a link for that video down below. But again, if you like this video, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and check out the website. It is chromeunboxed.com. And there I cover a lot of other news tidbits and things that don't really pertain to making a video of something. Like I said, keep your eyes peeled as well for the upcoming HP 14 versus Acer C720 versus Samsung ARM when it comes to casting tabs to your Chromecast. We'll be having that video coming up soon. Again, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching, and stick around. There'll be more videos coming. Have a good one.